You're 25 years old with a degree from Yale and a pretty impressive apprenticeship. I don't think we're asking the right question. I think the question we should be asking is, do you believe in this thing or not?
I do.
What are we talking about then?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggle. And in this video, I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Do you believe in this thing or not? Do you believe in your spec book or not? Well, I have a huge key pickup that I got recently. I guess you could call it a little bit of a spec book, but this is one that I absolutely believe in, and I'm going to show it off in this video with you here today. And then after I show off the book, I'm gonna talk about this idea of going after the book you believe in, and then also this idea of stacking books. But before I get into the video for today, if you guys could drop me a like or comment or subscribe if you're enjoying the content, help support the channel, do one of those things, I would appreciate it. But let us set up the stage because I am so excited to have this book in my collection. So I had made a video a few weeks back talking about top 10 street level villains to invest in. And this book right here is one of the books I had made mention of in that video. And you know, with all the hoopla going around the Hawkeye show, a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors going on, there was a book that was sort of tangentially related to that got super hot in the market recently. And, you know, for a long time, I've wanted this book in my collection, and I've been watching bids on eBay. You know, I've been looking for it on Instagram and places like that. And I'm always thinking like, yeah, you know, maybe I'll pull the trigger or maybe I won't. I don't really know, but I've never really committed to it. And, you know, with all the recent rumors and everything going on, I had to ask myself the question. I had to, you know, pull the scene from Moneyball, look at myself in the mirror and ask myself, do you believe in this thing or not? And the answer is I do. So without further ado, the book that I picked up is actually this one right here, Daredevil 131, first appearance of Bullseye, one of the all-time greatest street level villains there is in Marvel comic books. And this has been a really, really hot one. I mean, I got really lucky with this one. I was flipping through Instagram and it turned out that my LCS posted a picture where they said, you know, recent key acquired, and they had this one right here, and they had it set at a pretty good price. And that was sort of like the light bulb moment of like, okay, this is the time, you know, get yourself in the car, drive over to the LCS, go grab that book, and have this in your collection. And I'm super, super excited to have this one. I love Bullseye. I talked about him in my previous video where I really feel like, you know, with a really good execution of his character, he can be one that, you know, is one of the all-time premier villains in pop culture. And being where the rumors are right now with Kingpin and, you know, Daredevil, Charlie Cox coming over, I mean, it feels like it's only a matter of time. I mean, he slides right into so many storylines as well as, like, you know, other things like the Thunderbolt. So I really, really like this character, and I really, really felt like, you know, now is the time. Like, I believe in this thing. I want this book. What am I waiting for? You know, part of the idea of like all this conjecture and thinking about spec and what characters might manifest in the MCU is that you're feeding yourself the information to get ahead of the curve and get ahead of the market. And I was actually really disappointed myself with the recent rumors with the Hitmonkey show because, you know, they had made mention that Bullseye was off the table to be used for Hitmonkey because MCU had plans for him. So I was disappointed that, you know, I didn't get this book, say, you know, 6 months ago or a year ago or whenever I had been, you know, originally thinking about wanting to pick it up. And I think that this is something I want to leave with you guys because, you know, we all have our spec books that we're thinking about. We all have our keys that we really want in our collection, feeling like they're going to be good buys or that they're going to be characters that are going to come to the MCU or that they're going to be characters that, you know, eventually are going to get hot. And while we can't buy everything and we can't always fork over, you know, hundreds of dollars or whatever the case may be to buy that one book, if there is something that you are targeting and that you do want in your collection and you have that hunch that it's going to get hot one day and you have the means to acquire it, well, the question I have for you is, you know, what are you waiting for, right? If this is the book that you believe in, then go after that book. Now, this may not apply to Bullseye because he is such a well-known villain and this book is such a well-known key. But when I think about all the times I've been hunting, flipping through books, thinking about what specs could get hot, thinking about what characters could get hot, you know, the ones where I followed my gut and I went with my hunch and picked up those books before they had the opportunities to get super hot are the ones that I've done the best with as far as ROI is concerned. For instance, picking up a book like Defenders number 18, first appearance of the Wrecking Crew, when everybody was thinking of them as a joke, and as soon as there's rumors that come along, now you have a book that's 10x overnight. And had I not had the conviction in that book, well, I never would have picked up all those copies and never would have stacked it. But in thinking about what I was going to talk about with you guys in this video and thinking about this idea of, you know, going after the spec that you believe in, that really got me thinking about this other little piece of this idea of believing in a spec, and that's the idea of stacking a book, right? We all know that I love Darkhawk. I just went over and grabbed a few copies just to show you how I've stacked this book quite a few times. Here's another little spec book I just grabbed for you guys, Defenders 143 First Runner. This is a book that I stack, and there's actually quite a few kinds of books in my collection that I decide to stack for myself, or every time I kind of come across them in LCSs, and they're being sold at a good price, I'll pull them out to myself. And that's something that I feel like, while we don't have infinite budgets, we can't allocate our money to everything. We have to focus in on certain things, and that's kind of one of the things that I think is important to think about at least as far as like a ROI is concerned, or trying to sell a book when it's hot so that you can take that equity and move it into something else. Sometimes stacking a book that you believe in is one of the best ways to gain the most equity. I had made this video some time back talking about Warren Buffett's tips for investing, and one of the tips that he had was sometimes diversification can be a bad thing. And I think what he was saying with that is that if you believe in a certain type of stock, if you believe, in our cases, a certain type of book, it may not be a bad idea to put more of your chips into that basket. And one of the things that's really great about stacking a book like, say, 143 here, is that when this book gets hot, which actually recently it did get kind of hot because of the Atuma connection, but I also like it for the idea of the runner. But when that book gets hot, if you decide to sell a couple copies, they're going to be the easiest sells for you because you still have the book. I just recently had my holiday claim sale this past weekend, and there were a lot of books in there that I moved that were hard to let go because of the fact that these were my only copies of this book. But anytime I've sold a book where I've had multiple copies, I couldn't be happier to move it on to someone else who wants it, because it is something that I still have in my collection. And that's one of the things I think is really interesting too, as far as spec books that you believe in, or books that you want to invest in that you really believe in, is that it never hurts to necessarily stack those books. That's just one type of strategy you can employ when you're doing this hobby, and it can be a very fruitful endeavor for you for your collection. But it definitely takes a lot of conviction to continue to pick up a book that you already have multiple copies for in your collection. How many times do I need to own the first appearance of the runner? That's something I always have to ask myself. For me personally, I actually usually cap my stacking of books around 4, because once I get to 5, 6, 7, that's when I really start to think I just don't need all of these copies. And there's a certain point where I do think that the diversification into other books is something that I think is more fun and more interesting. Now, of course, just to preface again, this is just a strategy as far as ROI and investing in your books is concerned. At the end of the day, it's just bringing it back to the adage of the buy what you love. And if you believe in a book, and if you love a book like a Daredevil 131, definitely go pick it up. But that is all I have for this video. That was just a quick one, me showing off my new key right here, a book that I really, really believe in and wanted to go after. So I will leave that with you guys. If you believe in that book, if you believe in that spec, if you believe in that key you want to invest in, and you have the means to acquire it, well, I definitely say go after it. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about stacking? Do you guys often pick up a lot of copies of books that you believe in as far as spec is concerned? Let me know what other books that you've been wanting to go after. Drop me a like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and I will see you in the next video.